Welcome to the new RiverCityGamers Podcast, hosted by SCXCR and Well Unreal 007, as well as many other members from the RiverCityGamers website. Stay tuned for all the gaming news, new pickups, and everything else we feel like talking about on the RiverCityGamers Podcast.
And welcome to the RiverCityGamers Podcast. I'm SCXCR.
I'm Unreal.
I'm Blondeguygamer with the same voice gimmick that we have to do every intro.
I'm Shadowsnake 123, and I just came back from Vegas a couple of weeks ago, and I lost everything.
Including your mind? Including your mind?
Mm-hmm.
I just came back from Covington, Kentucky this past weekend.
I came back from work.
I got beat up by Chef from South Park, but I'm now the Multiverse Rumble champion.
Oh, you didn't tell me you won.
Oh yeah, I won. The video will be up on the convention's YouTube channel relatively soon.
What did you cosplay as in that? I forget.
Richter Belmont.
Oh, cool.
And then I came back the next day as Tetsuo and did a psychic chokeslam on somebody.
Wow. That's cool.
That's neither here nor there, though. We've got to talk about gaming news.
Gaming news! So real.
So I don't think it's possible for us to not start off gaming news with this. Has to do with Hideo Kojima and Konami.
Oh boy.
Apparently there's been some sort of split, and once Metal Gear Solid 5 is done, Kojima and some high-ranking officers in Konami are going to be out.
So
Konami 2015 bad business decisions. What else is new?
Yeah, and it goes beyond that too. Kojima Productions branding has been taken off of some of the promotional material. The Twitter account has been moved. The official Metal Gear website has been updated. And even the LA listing for Kojima Productions has been changed to Konami Los Angeles.
Makes you wonder, like, what actually happened for this to actually happen. Like, we don't actually know the reason, do we?
Yeah, he's been working there for like almost 30 years, I think.
maybe he just wants to move on and do something different, and maybe, you know, have an excuse to work on something different, because people have been criticizing him for the longest time for not being able to work on something else that isn't Metal Gear Solid. So I think maybe with this happening, he could probably potentially work on something, but I don't know.
Well, he has done different stuff here and there. I mean, he's done like he's produced other games like Zone of the Enders and Boktai.
Mm-hmm.
But those have all been Konami as well. I think the problem is that at some point he just kind of got fed up where, like, this is of course just speculative, but he probably got so fed up of that Konami's just like, dude, just keep making Metal Gear. It's like our one trump card that we're staying afloat on.
It is the only thing making us money.
Mm-hmm.
It's the only thing.
Castlevania sure as hell isn't doing that anymore. Or even
Yeah, well-
Silent Hill.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, but what about Pro Evolution Soccer?
Hey, if you're a
actually
soccer
kind
fan.
of like Pro Evolution Soccer.
Well,
Although I do
It's
still follow
like-
the sports game rule I have, where I don't buy one of those games until like 6 or 7 years have passed.
Mm-hmm.
sorry, I mean, I was just gonna say that's the thing with like modern day Konami. It literally is like the only thing they really had going for it recently was Metal Gear Solid, and now that Kojima's gone, like, didn't they say that they were still gonna make Metal Gear Solid games afterwards?
Yeah, they're just not going to use the Kojima Productions people. They're probably going to have some Western development studios do it.
Okay,
Yeah, let's
that,
have Mercury Steam do it, because that fucking... Oh, gee.
okay, look. I will admit, I am one of the few people that will actually defend the Lords of Shadow series.
I do like
And
Do we
some-
really need a tyrant director that has no idea what the fuck he's doing?
No, that would be Tom Hewlett. Anyway,
Oh my
I have
god.
no idea who that is. I almost thought you were
he
going to
was
say Todd Howard.
no Tom Hewlett was the guy who produced the Silent Hill games, the more recent ones.
He screwed up the
Downpour
HD.
and Book of Memories.
He screwed up the
Book of Memories
HD.
is especially bad.
Not to mention he screwed up the HD collection.
Well, he was basically he was the producer of those games. But as I was trying to say, Castlevania was never that big of a successful franchise, even with the issues that came up with Lords of Shadow. Mostly Lords of Shadow 2 was the one with the most issues, obviously. But even then, I think
it had a good enough following easily. That's why there's been a lot of games for Castlevania.
I know, but the thing is, the first Lords of Shadow, which essentially was the reboot to begin with, was actually pretty successful. I think it sold over 1 million units. So it's not like they can't be successful in giving these IPs to other developers. But in the case of that of what this Lords of Shadow series eventually became and Silent Hill, it's just clear that in terms of both fan and critical reception and sales figures, that it just didn't do what they wanted them to do. And if they do that with Metal Gear Solid, that'll be first of all, that'll be a big last straw for a lot of people if it hasn't already been the last straw already. If they give Metal Gear Solid to some other Western developer or whatever. So it's just a matter of what can they even do to stay afloat, basically.
The real question is, how long until Konami goes under?
Who knows? I mean, I imagine it won't be recent because Metal Gear Solid 5 is still coming out. That's still going to make them a fair amount of money. I guess the real question is, what are they going to do with that money and without Hideo Kojima?
Hire a Western developer to make more. It's still so recent, and it's just probably one of the dumbest decisions they've ever made. I mean, I'm kind of glad Kojima's wanting to move on, to something else, but it almost sounds like Konami just said, "Fuck you guys."
It could be possibly that, but we don't know exactly what the actual reason is for him leaving, at least not yet.
Yeah, the best we can say is just wait for him to release a statement or something.
Or Konami to release a statement. I don't know. Other than I guess their statement really is just he's just leaving. And that's that.
Mm-hmm. So we're just left to believe. I can't really think of the right words, but we just have to speculate as to why he wants to leave.
Well, staying in Japan, Nintendo did something that some people thought they would never do.
I know where this is going.
They announced a partnership with Dina, which is a company that makes smart and mobile games. So, we're going to see Nintendo games of some sort on mobile devices. They also mentioned that they're working on a new gaming platform, which is currently just codenamed NX. Supposedly a brand new concept, but I think it's just going to end up replacing one of the things they're using now.
Well, we don't know for sure if it's just going to flat out replace Wii U or 3DS at this point. It could be a third platform. Now, I think what they're doing here is they're just sort of I guess they just looked at the markets and they realized that a lot of people are in the mobile division. I mean, like it or hate it, it is a big market. And as a company, it wouldn't be a bad idea to look into that. And Nintendo knew that. So that's why they saw this and they're like, okay, let's see where we can go with this. And I don't think they're going to be oh, well, screw you guys who support the Wii U and 3DS. We're going with the mobile crowd now. No, I don't think it'd be anything like that. It's just something where it's let's just see where this goes, kind of thing.
So in other words, they're experimenting with this, right?
Yes, and it could potentially be something where it's if they are successful with it, that's good. They get money out of it, which could help them stay.
It's encouraging that they're teaming up with someone who's been involved with mobile gaming since basically the turn of the century.
Mm-hmm. In other words, they're actually teaming up with someone that's confident and actually knows what to do in the mobile gaming division. So I think they're having a good idea as to what to do. So ultimately, I did also read some articles that Nintendo will, like as you said, Blondie, at least focus on their current consoles, but yet they're also just going to try, do what they can with the mobile because because at least we hate to admit it. I think Nintendo, I guess, is kind of been in needing some money, just to pay back some, some dues or whatever. But ultimately, I'd rather have Nintendo at least be around. So if they had to resort to doing this, by all means. But the best I could say is at least do what you can with the Wii U and 3DS as well too.
Well, yeah, I mean, we're still going to get a bunch of games like this year and probably next year with the Wii and 3DS.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, we still got Xenoblade X coming from a different planet.
Mm-hmm.
So we got Devil's Third, which I'm looking forward to.
I still don't know what to think of that.
I don't think
I
most
almost
people
forgot
do.
it was a thing, actually.
I totally forgot about that
I
myself.
never forget it's a thing, because black guy with huge empty void for a mouth is my Daily Motion banner.
Oh, I thought you were gonna say black guy with the whitest voice ever from that one anime.
No.
Hey man, what the fuck?
I'm actually going to stay in mobile devices for this one. Although I'm not going to talk about Nintendo, this is about Sony.
So what's Sony doing with mobile devices?
Sony announced recently that PlayStation Mobile, which is their little experimentation with mobile games, it's going to be discontinued.
Oh, well, I guess that's an example of another company that tried to do it, but it didn't really succeed.
Oops.
I take it this is what Nintendo will be doing if they're
I
not
guess not even knowing that was an actual thing probably attributed to that discontinuation, huh?
Yeah. I didn't even know about that myself.
I don't think most people do. That's probably why.
It went public back in 2012.
Okay, what was it even? Like, just a mobile division or something?
Yeah, and it had its own set of games like Super Crate Box, Gun House, Passing Time. I don't expect you to know what any of these titles are, because frankly, I don't know what most of them are either.
Is it like just for smartphones or in general, or just for Sony phones, or?
It's for PlayStation certified Android devices.
Okay, so, but yeah.
Maybe now that they are going to get rid of this, which by the way, PSM games are going to stop being distributed July 15th, and then the dev portal shutters on my birthday, November 30th.
For the PlayStation mobile thing?
Yeah, and maybe when that happens, they'll finally focus on the Vita more.
Yeah, because I have the Vita and I like to have
I got one too after Christmas. I mean, I'm in that camp now too.
Mm-hmm.
Let's get to a little bit more lighthearted news. Remember that class action lawsuit about the 360 wrecking people's discs?
Vaguely?
The one that happened 8 years ago?
What about it?
It's back!
Okay.
It was initially overturned by a lower court, but a higher court is going back over that ruling, and the lawsuit is back up again.
Okay.
What was the lawsuit for originally? You said it was like the discs or something?
It's about Microsoft apparently knowing that the disk drive in the original Xbox 360 was damaging game discs, and really didn't do much about it.
Doesn't that only happen if you, like, move the system while the disc is running or something?
I don't know, it's so long ago I can't remember.
Yeah, I mean, I still have, like, an original model, more or less, but...
Same here, even though I barely play it.
And I sort of have it, like, upright, which actually isn't the most ideal, even though it's advertised to be upright to begin with, for, like, the discs, but I never had an issue with, like, discs getting scratched or whatever. Like, I think it's
like
assuming,
the 360?
Like... Sorry, what?
With what exactly?
We're talking about the 360.
Yeah. Oh, actually, I think I do have a story about the whole right side thing, because this actually happened to me and one of my old friends. This was back when Oblivion came out. We rented it from Blockbuster, and we had the system upright. I think the system fell down and got knocked over, and as a result, the disc got fucked up so bad that we couldn't play it anymore. So we sent it back to Blockbuster and said nothing. That's the story. That's after that, I pretty much learned, yeah, if we have a 360, never fucking put it vertical.
The most interesting part of that story to me was the part where Blockbuster still existed.
Yeah.
Well, they usually have like disc removing things anyway, don't they?
Well, here's the
some
thing.
video rental stores do?
I think, like, at least with 360, if that ever happened to you, the damage would be so bad, I don't think disc cleaning would actually fix it. So, technically, we broke a copy of Oblivion and got away scot-free.
Well, even
they can't sue me now! Blockbuster's dead!
Okay. But even with that, I mean, you can still have... I still keep my 360 vertically up, and it's because it's in between, like, other systems. There's no real risk of it, like, falling down. And even then,
The only systems I do keep vertical are the Wii, the Wii U, and the PlayStation 3. The PlayStation 3 I'm more safe with being vertical because of how it's shaped. It's shaped more like an oval instead of just a straight rectangle. It seems like it's less prone to tipping because of how it was like shaped and stuff.
You can't even do that with like newer models of PS3s, though.
Yeah, but I have like one of the earlier model ones.
Yeah.
And Wii U and Wii U's have like stands anyway.
I recently just got like a brand new PS3 Super Slim and just gave my my huge PS3 to a friend. So, and when I back then, when I used to have the old PS3, yeah, I would mostly have it like to vertically, like you said, but ultimately, the only system I have now that's like vertically up, it's the Wii U now.
But yeah, I mean, going back to that lawsuit, like that's the only real thing where it's like, if the system gets knocked over or moved, that's probably the reason why it gets damaged. But if the lawsuit's back, isn't like the 360 like at this point, like original models are not even for sale anymore? It's just the slim ones, and
yeah, so I don't see any value in this lawsuit.
They're still kind of releasing last-gen games, though, so I don't know what's going on.
Well, yeah, I mean, I'm not saying the 360 is discontinued yet. No, I mean, but at this point, it's pretty late into its initial life cycle right now, where it seems like there's no real point to do a lawsuit, or at least continue the lawsuit after all these years, after like 8 years, which is a pretty long life cycle for a console anyway.
Mm-hmm.
So,
I mean, when you really think about it, like, I mean, if you're gonna get a 360, which I doubt you're gonna do at this day and time, you're probably just most likely gonna go with the new model, because that's probably the only model you can probably find. Not that it matters, because you'll probably be more.
I don't know if you can still potentially like damage the disc the same way though with the slim models, but
well, let's focus less on the past and look more toward the future.
What does the future say?
I'm thinking specifically of March 23rd in Denmark.
March 23rd in Denmark.
Oh, I know what's going on with this. You want me to say it?
Feel free.
So, if there's one way to pay for Bloodborne in Denmark, and that's actually paying with your own blood.
Yep.
Oh, as in like a blood donation?
Mm-hmm.
Yep.
Huh.
You can get Bloodborne or another undisclosed game if you give blood.
Dark Souls 2. No, I don't know.
In Denmark.
That's a creative promotion, I'll give it that.
Yeah.
Only in Denmark.
Pay with your blood.
Why is it that Europe gets all the creative/good promotions?
Because they're just crazy like that.
Yeah, because we're boring.
Well, speaking of Europe having all the fun, there's a new Scottish indie studio called Rhizome Games. And can you guess where the office for this new studio is?
Like
what type of building? It's in Glasgow, Scotland. I'll give you that.
Is it in a castle?
No.
Then what?
Rhizome Games, launched by 3 developers, is operating out of a converted whiskey distillery warehouse.
What? That's
Okay.
That's a bit of an oddball place to open a video game studio. But okay.
Hey,
Wouldn't be as
works,
stereotypical.
right?
Well, it's not as stereotypical as if it was a Scotch distillery.
I mean, you might as well like have like a video game studio in Texas and a farm.
Could be worse. It could be like an old repurposed bagpipe factory.
Are
Or a
bagpipes even
kilt
made in
sewing
factories?
plant. I'm making all these jokes specifically because I'm Scottish.
Okay.
Go figure. I'm part Scottish too. But yeah, that's whatever you whatever building you need to start a video game company. It was probably like a cheap place to lease or buy or whatever,
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Besides in this era of video gaming, you're gonna need all the resources you can. So even if you had to choose a weird place to have a video game studio, you might as well do it.
Whatever works as an office for you.
I'll be honest, when I first saw the article, I was hoping that it would be what you said, where they were working out of an old castle.
That'd be actually pretty metal if you actually make like dungeon crawling games from an actual castle.
Shoot
Somebody-
FMV scenes in your own studio.
Yeah, make a proper Stone Keep sequel.
Don't remind me.
Sorry. But yeah, someone needs to get on that, for sure.
Do you mean the Stonekeep sequel, or having a game studio in a castle?
Let's just go with both. Or maybe
Alright.
just the castle, because I know Interplay won't really make another proper sequel. They barely
I
make
have
games.
one last bit of news. It's not really news, but I figured I'd mention it anyway for people who don't know. And it has to do with a certain John Romero.
Okay, did he tell someone to be their bitch or whatever catchphrase he said back in the 90s?
No, actually, he's working on a new game, and it involves his wife and his son, too.
Okay.
And, Shadow, you picked a hell of a time to be on the podcast,
Okay.
because the name of this game is Gunman Taco Truck. And the subtitle for it is The Last Mexican Saves the World One Taco at a Time.
Oh my god! I can just
So
imagine
a Mexican stereotype the game?
Apparently the setup for it is in the year 2020 there's been a nuclear fallout involving the US and North America in general. And there is one last surviving Mexican who runs a taco cart. He is trying to get across the nuclear wasteland that is the US to a safe haven in Canada. And along the way, he is blasting his way through a bunch of mutant animals, then chopping up the mutant animals into ground beef and using them to make tacos to sell to survivors.
That's pretty out there.
Yeah, it sounds like a really weird, elaborate, Fallout 3 or New Vegas mod or something. Or expansion.
Because from the looks of it, it sounds like a post-apocalyptic scenario.
Well, for those interested, it's up for pre-order right now
On Steam.
at gunmantacotruck.com. It's $5. I'm
Okay, then.
actually thinking about it. And with that, I'm completely spent on gaming news. So why don't we go ahead and look to some upcoming releases?
Oh boy.
Like Bloodborne.
Like Bloodborne.
When does that
And
come out?
that's it. No, I don't know what else there is this month.
Yeah, you're not far off, actually.
That's
okay.
it, everyone.
Okay, wait, when does Bloodborne come out?
That
Tuesday?
comes out in 3 or 4 days.
So that
Okay.
would be the 24th.
Alright.
Although there are a couple other things I can mention, such as Mortal Kombat 10.
Oh yeah.
Thanks, Microsoft,
How
for
soon is
leaking
that?
one of the characters
Oops, oh well.
ahead of time. Yeah, Predator's going to be in it.
Predator, okay, well, that not really big surprise, but that's cool.
Mm-hmm. I'm just debating what console to get it on, either PS3 or PC.
When does that come out?
That's not until about mid-April.
Yeah.
Okay, so it is coming out soon, but not until like April.
I also do know what else is coming out for April, but I want to see what if SCR has it in mind too.
Well, I'm jumping over to the 3DS for this one, for Etrian Mystery Dungeon.
I'll consider getting that since, the Etrian Odyssey series is a pretty interesting RPG series.
And a few days after that, Xenoblade Chronicles 3D.
I have that pre-ordered.
Curious to see how that would look on the new 3DS.
Mm-hmm.
Which reminds me, I still have to finish
off.
the Wii one.
Exactly. Yeah. I'm holding off because I'm halfway through the Wii one, and I'm like, I don't even have a new 3DS. Would I want to spend 1 billion hours again on the go? I don't know.
Oh, it is a good game, so who knows?
I want to support
speaking of Xenoblade, it doesn't apply to us yet, but X is coming out in Japan in April. Which means they have to hear the battle music constantly before we do.
Oh no.
Oh no.
They'll be able to tolerate.
They'll probably hear the lyrics and go, English? I don't know what they're saying.
Actually, isn't English and Japanese games pretty common?
These days, yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, they're probably used to it.
They won't get weirded out.
They just read the subtitles.
Like we do.
Like we do.
Like we do in Japanese and other Japanese stuff. So
We read
it comes full
subtitles in
circle.
English because we got to see if they're spelt wrong. Is that all that's coming out in the upcoming months?
Well, wait. The Vita's getting Child of Light. Oh, wait, I got that on PC months ago.
I got that on 360 months ago. Little late to the party with that port, guys. Sheesh. I mean, it's a good game. I really liked it, but
Great job, Ubisoft.
eh.
Oh, wait, there's
Maybe
also
they'll-
MLB The Nah.
What's really the sad part? I've actually read an article that, you guys know that Gravity Rush is pretty much one of, the Vita's most unique games out there, right?
Yeah,
And
I actually got
it's
it.
going to
And
console.
PS4.
Yeah.
Oh. Well, I already got it with my Vita when I got it, so oh well. Well, I don't have a PS4 yet anyway, so
It makes me think, is there anything unique on the Vita at this point?
Tales of Hearts are.
I guess. Persona 4 Golden, I guess. Persona 4 Dancing All Night. When it comes out.
That's pretty much it for upcoming releases.
Actually, would this count? But since it came out like today or yesterday or whatever as this podcast, but Mario Party 10?
I forgot that existed.
Yeah, well, that's probably out, so out now anyway.
That came out during recording. Who cares?
Zero probably
Zero.
cares.
Yeah, Zero probably cares. He's probably
What?
playing it with. He's probably playing it with his.
Fucking hate 9, and isn't
Yeah,
10
but he still
basically 9?
A lot of people didn't like 9. I know, but people's
Like 0.
Mario-
So
it's still Mario Party's still a very. It's a big name. People are gonna get it regardless. And who knows? Who knows? It might actually be better. I mean, Zero's probably playing it right now with his friends. Who knows?
I mean, the only thing I'd be curious about Mario Party is just the amiibo support, but even then, it's like, I'm not gonna buy the game just for the sake of amiibo support.
Well, unless anyone else has something to add, I'm done with upcoming releases.
I got nothing.
Well, in that case, why don't we talk about some of the games we've been playing recently? Hold on, let me flip my dice. That wasn't a dice, but it landed on Unreal somehow.
Alright, so Monster Hunter 4 is a great game.
I think we all can say that. We all have
Yeah.
it.
Damn it.
Well, how about we explain how good Monster Hunter 4 is?
Yeah, that'll be the next thing we'll be talking about for the next 2 hours.
Mm-hmm.
This is counting as one of my games, too.
This is
And
kind of another
everyone
game.
else's, I guess.
I thought we agreed that we wouldn't all talk about the same game.
That's why you guys get to skip it. You can take my word for it. It's great. It's fucking great. It's my favorite Monster Hunter right now. I really like
Underwater
what they
combat.
changed. I really like what they added.
Main things that I
Just
really
don't
like
tell
are the changes
Zero
they made to
about
the movement
trading.
system. Where you can climb over some terrain, you can leap off and pounce on monsters.
You can mount monsters.
Mounting
Yeah,
is
that's
really kind of broken some fights.
But it's a really good mechanic.
Yeah. It's very welcoming.
On the plus side, though, if you're like me and you're a longsword user and you encounter a monster that you primarily go after with blunt weapons, mounting does become a viable option.
But no, really, it's fucking great. I don't know how it looks on new 3DS in comparison.
It looks really good. It runs very good. Trust me.
It runs decent on old 3DS also. I mean, I'm using Circle Pad Pro and stuff. I'm fine with what I've got right now. I mean, I'm still planning to upgrade to new 3DS, but can't right now. Gotta get to Canada soon.
Maybe next year I'll try to go to Canada.
Travel
Maybe
plans
next
aside.
year. Well, okay. The other game that I actually played recently and beat, not too long ago is Resident Evil Revelations 2. I'm surprised. It's good. I really like this game. But there's no online.
It wasn't. Isn't online going to be added for the raid mode though?
Yeah, they're adding it at the end of March, which, like, I'll take. Raid mode's fucking great. But I kind of wish there was online for the single player stuff, because I kind of found the character swapping a little finicky, because your AI controlled partners are kind of stupid. It ain't Sheva, but I don't know. And I found this out after I bought it. Like, oh, I can't wait to play with my friend who's buying this game. I'm gonna play online with him. What do you mean online's not the fucking game? So the only way me and my friend are able to play co-op is to turn on split screen, use the share play thing on PS4, while one of us has to play, like, a slightly delayed, lower frame rate version of the game as player 2, while player 1 gets 60 FPS, full control. The good news is player 1 is the one that shoots things, so works out.
It's
Oh,
like
the
you're
second
It's a
player.
compromise, but at least
person
me and my
is
friend
holding a
are
flashlight.
enjoying. I'm sorry,
One
what?
time, guys.
It's like player 1 is fixing the kitchen sink and the other person is just sitting there holding the flashlight.
Yeah. Speaking of Barry! Barry's the fucking best in this game. So good. I'm so glad they put him in. And I'm so glad that Capcom's acknowledging that Barry is the silliest fucking thing to happen to Resident Evil since the first game, and they're just running with it. It is amazing. Barry, a simple family man, still cracking dumb-ass jokes in the weirdest spots, but also being the most kind-hearted person I've ever seen.
How much does Barry make the game worth it?
Ooh, probably more than I thought. But hell, Claire's sections and stuff, like, the entire package is really good. Like, yeah, Barry's is slightly more shooty bits, kinda, but not as excessive as 6 or even 5 at points, I felt. Because you have Natalia to deal with, and she kinda helps point out enemies in weak spots for Barry. And also, in some parts, points out invisible fucking enemies that Barry cannot see and will instantly kill him. So that's very important. But Claire's stuff is, like, really good too. Although I miss, Big Comfy Couch Girl. I miss that.
You mean the original voice actor?
Yeah, I miss
Actress?
that support. I mean, I grew, like, I got over it, but I'm still kind of sad.
I'm kind of curious to see who voiced Claire Redfield in Revelations 2.
I don't know. One thing I will say, I was going into this game expecting not to fucking like Moira, but she kind of grew on me, and I didn't fucking think I'd be saying that ever. Like, I honestly did not think, like, oh, Moira's okay, I guess. I don't think I would ever mutter those words, but I did. Moira's better than Piers, let's put it that way.
Wow, how low are you setting that bar?
Oh, Piers is, like, super low. Moira goes, like, far above, honestly. Helps that she's a fucking Burton. Kinda, yeah.
Well, it's her daughter, or his daughter, right?
One. Barry actually has 2 daughters, and Moira's one of them. The other is Polly. But I don't want to delve into, like, spoiler shit or anything in the game. I'm surprised at the plot, too. It's not great, but it's surprisingly enjoyable for a Resident Evil game. Like, I actually really liked it.
And in other words, it actually made you feel engaged and actually cared about what was going on, right?
And without spoiling anything, in like the final parts of the last episode, I got extremely hyped and I was just like giddy as hell. And it was because of Barry. Man, this game, like I'm happy, and it's a budget game too. The physical release is like $40, and you could get the thing all digitally for like less than that, but the physical stuff comes with a lot more stuff that you would still have to download separately.
Yeah, because it was originally an episode.
For a low budget, this is nice. I like this game. I really do. Which is amazing, because I was extremely skeptical about it. And this is coming from a guy that liked Revelations.
I love the first Revelation.
Oh yeah, a lot of people like Revelations, and I'm glad to see that the sequel turned out good too, from the sounds of it.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, honestly, I would definitely recommend it.
I mean, I heard there were some issues with the PC version, but I want to give Revelations 2
I think they kind of like put the split screen shit back in. Not via mods. Mods did that, but then Capcom just actually themselves put it back in officially. And if they haven't yet, they said they are doing it. So, but yeah, that was still kind of a shitty thing to do, honestly, for the PC version at launch. Like, you release the game and go, oh, that, by the way, split screen co-op, not in the PC version. Sucker! Yeah, that was my games over the past few months. Monster Hunter took my most time, and Revelations 2 gave me the most surprises. SCR, you go.
Oh, god damn it. Well,
you
we
already
already went over one of my games, which was Monster Hunter 4 Ultimate. I'm still playing that. As soon as this podcast is done, I'm probably going to go back to playing it a little more.
Same here.
At this hour? Okay.
But let's talk about the opposite of fun with a game called One Night. Some of you already know about this game because I posted a Fearless video on my YouTube account of it. This is a game that's basically made by one Russian guy who sort of has a grasp on the English language.
Yeah,
and to put into perspective what was going on when I played this, the day that I played this game, he posted an update which says, and I quote, "Removed problem with a chair, changed a few scripts, write new bug but rather send video." So then I played this game, and first of all, you immediately notice that a bunch of the assets from the game are stolen. There are things from some Half-Life games in here, a bunch of other Source projects. You'll notice that he just took images from Google search and then mirrored them. Like in the first room, there's an AT&T ad that's mirrored, and then there's a picture, well, it's supposed to be a microwave, but he just put a texture over the front of it, which was actually an image that he found online and then mirrored it. And I knew it was an image of a microwave because there was a watermark on it from the photograph company. So there's that. But then you get to the actual gameplay. The idea is that you're in an office building and you're running from a serial killer, I think. The description is also in really broken English. I'm not sure if you remember it, Blondie.
Oh, I remember.
With a usual watchman in the office, Serenity violating a stranger. This is all on the store page on Steam.
Yes.
And
well, the one thing that'll stick with me though is that this game actually came out on my birthday this year.
yeah, this wasn't an old game. This came out this year. All sorts of bad programming is all over this game. You will fall through the floor and die. You will get damaged by absolutely nothing and die. What else happens? You can clip through doors. You can have items disappear just at the corner of the screen. When the serial killer tries to attack you, he pitches forward and then bitch slaps the ground to death.
He also spazzes out like an N64 character with the cartridge tilted.
Yeah, it's somewhere between cartridge tilting and bullshit Gmod videos. But the big problem with this game is it will crash for absolutely anything. I've had it crash trying to load. There's one particular level which the game crashed 15 or 16 times in a row trying to load it.
Yeah, that was the big one where it wouldn't load the last level.
Almost half of my stream of this game was just trying to load that one level. And then I got to one level where I couldn't complete it because I needed 5 keys and one of them didn't spawn.
It sounds like you were playing an early alpha.
Yeah, but this guy didn't even do that. It was just straight up on the store for $5. Like, it wasn't like a green light or anything.
Yeah, and I don't even know what else to say about this. Oh wait, I know what I can say. One Night! Don't buy it! Seriously, it's $5. You can do much better for $5 on Steam.
Especially on sales.
And for the record, I did not pay for this. It was gifted to me.
Who gave this to you?
My friend Randor.
Oh.
You know what? Shadow, please get us as far away from One Night as possible.
I'll be honest with you. I never watched your streams of One Night, and I'm having a feeling that it was probably for the better.
He has highlights up on his YouTube.
All right. Aside from Monster Hunter 4, I've been playing 3 games. I'll talk briefly about. I'm not going to go into a huge discussion about them because I haven't beaten most of them. Majora's Mask. Now, I'll be honest. I've been set a goal for myself where I want to go back to beating certain like old Zelda games, and I recently just beat Ocarina of Time 3D because it's like when I got Majora's Mask 3D, I never took the time to actually finish the 3DS version of Ocarina of Time. It's like, you know, maybe since Majora's Mask 3D is coming out, I want to actually finish these Zelda games on 3DS, and I also need to finish Link Between Worlds. So I played Majora's Mask 3D, and holy god, do I love like the aesthetics and look to it. I love how you can actually use the enhanced C-Stick on the 3DS or Circle Pack Pro if you still play this on the old 3DS and just, you know, use camera control. That's like really good. And so far I'm liking how well it is. I mean, so far the gameplay is great, and it's somewhat harder than Ocarina of Time from what I played, but ultimately I'm somewhat enjoying it, and hopefully I can beat this pretty soon, so I can probably start playing Wind Waker HD. And another game I bought on 3DS, which I played recently, and this was it's called Codename Steam. Now, the reason I got this game specifically is that it was made by the same people who did the Fire Emblem games and the Advance War series. So the idea is that you're playing as a bunch of characters in the steampunk version of London, where every character is basically either a historical figure or based on a fable. Like John Henry, Abraham Lincoln, you name it. Now, the best part about this game is that, well, to me, and it kind of makes it worth it to me, is the amiibo support. Meaning that you can actually play as Fire Emblem characters that in this game in a third-person perspective. And the gameplay is essentially, well, Valkyria Chronicles minus a lot of RPG elements, which is, I think, what some people may find a little bit disappointing, because I heard the reception for this wasn't as great as as Nintendo had anticipated for it, but from what I played, it's not bad. If you play Valkyria Chronicles, you'll be right at home with the gameplay with this. I mean, if you're not so sure whether or not you want to buy it or whatnot, download the demo first, see if you like it, and then go back and play. But if you are like me, and if you have Fire Emblem amiibos, and if you have a 3DS or new 3DS like me, this game will probably be a lot of fun, because playing as the Fire Emblem characters, Marth and Ike, was pretty fun. And it was I'll be honest, it's actually pretty awkward to have Marth actually speak in English for the first time, because I'm always so used to him, like, in all the other games, speak in Japanese, you know, Smash.
Thanks for reminding me I don't have the Fire Emblem ones.
Well, don't you have Ike?
No, I gotta wait till summer!
Oh yeah, that's right!
At least I have Gold Mayro, but he ain't a Fire Emblem, so whatever.
I want to also know when to pre-order Robin and Lucina amiibos. I've been calling GameStop every week just to...
My GameStop said, like, Nintendo's not gonna, like, they're not gonna do pre-orders for Wave 4, period. I'm like, bullshit. But that's for another time, because I don't want to talk about it.
Because I want to get those 2 amiibos for the sake of this game, because I want to be able to play as Robin and Lucina.
Pac-Man.
And the amiibo woes continue.
Alright, do you mind if I interrupt for something real quick?
Sure.
Unreal, I mentioned this specifically because of your gold Mechio. And
I can't believe I woke up at like 6 o'clock to go to fucking Walmart at 7.
And it doesn't
This
really
is
apply
what
to...
this shit does to people.
It doesn't apply to most of us. Blondie, I guess it applies to you because you're Canadian. But I got a message from Zero Master, which reads as follows. I went to get my copy of Mario Party 10 today, and there's a Walmart right there. So I thought I'd see if the Golden Mario amiibo was in. Apparently in Canada, it's been pushed back till April 10th. Reason is, due to the Rosalina amiibo controversy, Nintendo has decided to keep it held back in Canada so they can meet the demand for amiibos. Basically, they're waiting till they have more than enough before they ship them to Canadian stores. He also said the previous amiibos would be re-released soon, though the Walmart rep that he heard this from wasn't allowed to specify which ones are getting restocked.
Well, we know Martha's. They confirmed that. I just wonder if they're... How about restock all of them? What the fuck? It's not hard.
Keep in mind, this is just word of mouth from a Walmart rep.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I mean, that happens. I mean, I would love if they get restocked. I would. Because that'll give me a chance to, get Little Mac, and I already forgot what I was going to fucking name him in Super Smash Wrestle Slam.
Alright, the last game, and this is basically my only reason for having a Vita at this point, which, don't get me wrong, I have other reasons, I'm just trying to be very melodramatic as to how little there for the Vita to offer, but... Okay, for those who don't know, I've actually recently been playing Project Diva, so yeah, I'm into Vocaloid, only into this respective rhythm game series. I actually really want to talk about it in more detail in another video, but I guess I might as well give you my overall impressions on this. The gameplay is very simplistic. All you really do is have to keep up with the beat, press whatever buttons the screen tells you to do, and the thing is that the notes are placed all over the screen, so it's just like not going to be in a predictable state like in DDR or whatever. They're just going to be all over the place. You have to like keep your eyes open everywhere, and it's like you have to like also know the song in and out to actually be successful in higher difficulties. What I like about the second Project Diva game that came out is that they actually allow you to import all the modules, or it's a term they use for costumes, from the first one to this one, and that way I have more options to what costumes I want to use for each song or whatnot. Also, there's extra content that you can download and get if you're really a big fan of this game, like extra songs, extra costumes. But yet, even without all that DLC, you still get a good amount of costumes in this. And Jesus Christ, there's just like so much replay value in this. It's amazing, like how a simplistic rhythm game just has so much to offer. If you like Japanese music rhythm games, I say just go for this, either on PS3 or PS Vita. I mean, you're not going to be disappointed with either version. And I just recently just caved in and just got both versions, because I started with the PS3 version, and then I'm like, I love this game so much, I would love to play it on the go, which to me it would probably make more sense to play this game on the go, because it kind of does feel like a portable-ish game. So I got the Vita version, because I want more reasons to actually own a Vita.
Don't we all? Or at least the few of us that have a Vita.
To be honest, I also have a Monster Hunter clone called Tokiding on the Vita, and I barely play it.
At least you got play more games than I do for the Vita right now.
I like the Vita's technology and everything, it just needs more unique stuff.
Nah, it's just gonna be like PSP, where it's like, there'll still be some good games to get for it, but...
It's not a bad system, it's just,
It's just being outsold by 3DS like 10-1. It's just... And they're just focusing on making it more like a portable... just PlayStation 3 or whatever.
Might as well just call this the Port Station Vita at this point. I don't really like buying... I try to go for the more unique type of games on the Vita. The only exceptions I bought in buying ports was Project Diva F2 and Dragon's Crown, and I guess if you want to count Persona 4 Golden. I think Persona 4 Golden is like a portable remake more than the port, because there's actually a lot more content and a lot of story elements that they expand upon. And that's all I got.
I guess that just leaves me then, huh? In terms of actually the recent stuff I've gotten, I actually did pick up Alan Wake on 360 not too long ago, and I played through the first chapter of that. Essentially, you play as Alan Wake, who is a novel writer, mystery murder novel writer, who has writer's block, who has had writer's block. So him and his wife go on vacation to basically this wood main area. Essentially, this game, in terms of its narrative and its setting and everything, and it's basically like a combination of Twin Peaks and almost any given Stephen King novel. And as someone who actually has read some Stephen King stories, it definitely piqued my interest. Now, I haven't played any other Remedy games, which they also made Max Payne games, at least the first two. I haven't played any of those, but this one I thought was pretty interesting in terms of what it does in terms of its combat and its gameplay. Essentially, you have shadow beings that come after you as you explore these wooded areas. What you have to do to combat them is you have conventional weapons like handguns and shotguns, but in order to actually kill them, you need to use your flashlight and intensify your light onto them to get rid of the black shroud around them. Once you get rid of that, you can shoot them to kill them. And I thought that was a pretty interesting take on how it uses a light mechanic along with just a third-person shooting. So far, I think it's pretty good. The only thing that irked me slightly with that game is, while it's not too old of a game, it came out around 2010 or so, but some of the facial animations and modeling are really irksome. And judging from that sound, you've had experience with this game too, SCR?
Oh yeah, I played all the way through this game a long time ago. The fucking face on Alan's wife.
Yeah, I admit the face.
I wrote a blog on this before, but when she talks, I know that there are words coming out of her mouth, but when I hear it in my head, it all sounds like ha 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 ha. Well,
I mean, these are the same guys that made Max Payne, and if I've recalled, Max's Payne face was kind of like, So I don't think face modeling is their best.
His mouth also didn't move in the first one.
Anytime I think about Alan Wake, I think about that one MLG video that Rush Nerd made.
Oh, God.
MLG no flashlight scope.
Yeah. Anyway, there's also Alan's face sometimes was a little weird. There were scenes where he brandishes his teeth and I'm just like, oh geez, reminds me of some scenes in Silent Hill Homecoming. The weird modeling the face, showing their teeth. It's that was but other than that, so far I think the game is interesting, and I think I'll probably continue playing it at some point. Now, in terms of other stuff that I've gotten recently, I actually did get a new handheld system not too long ago. And no, it's not the Vita. That was back in after Christmas. What I'm talking about is I actually got, for a pretty good deal, Sega Game Gear. And I managed to get that with a few games. One of which was actually a game Zero gave me back when he visited me. But he actually didn't know I didn't have a Game Gear. But now I actually can play it. I actually can play it now. And it was Alien 3 on the Game Gear, which is basically just a handheld version of the Genesis Alien 3 game. And now I have 5 versions of that game, go figure. But the actual games that I got with the Game Gear were the Game Gear versions of Sonic the Hedgehog, Sonic the Hedgehog 2, and Sonic Chaos. So, it's a Sega system, you might as well get some Sonic games for it, right?
Uh-huh.
Now, the only problem with this Game Gear that I got is that the screen doesn't really work properly in terms of its brightness and contrast. What I have to do in order to see the games properly, if you look at the Game Gear straight on, the screen is way too bright and everything looks really green, as if you turned up the contrast of the old Game Boys up to almost full to where it's like almost like a solid green block. What I have to do in order to see it properly is that I have to like tilt it down and look at the screen at an angle so I can see the games properly.
That sounds normal for the Game Gear to me.
No, dude, trust me, it's not. The screen's messed up on it. Like
I still think like the Game Gear I had like went missing. The only thing I have left is that Game Genie for the Game Gear.
Oh yeah.
You want it? I can't use it.
I don't know. Maybe
with a code book, a tiny code book that's in the fucking compartment of the Game Gear.
They did that with the Game Gear one too. The Game Boy one did that.
Yeah, I guess so. Like there was just a little door in tiny book in there, in that Game Genie thing.
Well, I mean, I don't want to take like what's the only thing that you have left of the Game Gear, but
I'm kidding too. I mean,
I know.
That Game Gear's getting good use on that PlayStation 3 when I tried to hook it up because I needed to cheat in Mag.
Anyway, but that's not the only problem that my Game Gear has. It also, the sound doesn't work, or at least it barely works. Like, even at like the volume setting at max, it barely comes to the speaker at all. And now I can put in headphones on the Game Gear and I can hear the sound a little bit better, but not by much. It's still just barely there. I have a Game Gear, but it's one that's only sort of works and I can still play games on it, so yeah. I mean, I did manage to beat Sonic Chaos with Tails, so that's something at least. And I think that about does it for just the few games that I did get recently in play.
Alright, well, let's go ahead and move into our discussion, which we're going back to Kojima again.
Mm-hmm.
Oh boy.
But it's not about Metal Gear Solid 5. Because we know he's expected to leave after that, but that leaves another game he's working on up in the air. Silent Hills.
Yeah, I mean, we already sort of talked about Silent Hill in general with Konami stuff anyway, but yeah.
It's also being handled by the director of, what was it, Pacific Rim?
It's being handled by Kojima and Guillermo and Del Toro.
Yeah, Del Toro.
Yeah, just call him Del Toro. It's like, how do you say
so? I assume
Grandma?
he's still on board with working on that game.
And so is Walking Dead man Norman Reedus, I bet.
Well, yeah. I mean, they said that there's no official like news or announcements of saying whether or not Kojima's still working on Silent Hills after Metal Gear Solid 5, right? Or
there's been no official word on this yet.
Mm-hmm.
But with all this news, like we don't know what's going to happen to it. We're kind
really
of
hard to speculate.
We're kind of in a scary spot right now.
Yeah, especially because PT already came out.
Yeah, like that whole reveal to Silent Hills being a thing because of like PT, like it was brilliant. And I'm gonna be extremely sad if Silent Hills gets canned or gets fucking handed to that one Silent Hill guy that shall not be named.
Well, we already named him earlier.
Well, let's never name him again.
Well, I know. I mean, you say that name to most Silent Hill fans still.
Just splice in the guy's name that Blondie said earlier, and then just cut it in. It won't sound awkward or anything.
Matthew Lesko.
Yeah. Ugh.
You know, as much as Silent Hill fans hate him, unfortunately, you have to thank him for actually bringing out Rocket Knight, for bringing Sparkster back into the light, even if briefly. You know, it's just one of those things where, as a Konami producer, where it's like, oh yeah, he did that. But those are essentially just the worst case scenarios, where it's like, you know, the game gets canceled or it gets handed back to the producer of like Silent Hill Downpour and Book of Memories.
HD collection.
Book of Memories is the worst offender. I still abide to that. I got the freaking game on the Vita, and it's terrible. It's a garbage spin-off.
I am sorry that you bought that.
No,
It's obligation to the franchise. It happens.
Yeah, I know.
Oh.
And that's the thing. It's like people argue. I know there's people that argue that say, "Oh, if you don't treat it as a Silent Hill game," but
it's called
bad.
Silent Hill.
Exactly. They do that so people would actually buy it. They incorporated a franchise into the spin-off so people would actually get interested into it, so people are obligated to get it because it's like, oh, I know Silent Hill. And then they get it and it's like, wow, this is shit.
You know, if you don't treat Fallout Brotherhood of Steel as a Fallout game...
You know, it didn't help that I played Book of Memories, or at least played some of it, not too long after.
If you don't treat Resident Evil Survivor as a Resident Evil game, it's still bad.
It didn't, yeah, but it didn't help that I played Brotherhood of Steel, which is kind of the same sort of type of thing, where it's like they made this mediocre like dungeon crawler RPG thing. But we're getting a little off topic with other Silent Hill games that are much worse. Like with Silent Hills, it really is up. It really is up in the air of what's actually going to happen now. Because I really don't want to see this game go through development hell. I don't think any of us want to.
Me neither. I mean, I'd like to see Silent Hill make one hell of a comeback because it's been struggling to maintain its relevance over the years. I mean, due to their supposed year of Silent Hill. Oh Jesus.
Oh yeah, 2012 was a pretty bad year for that. I mean, even as someone who liked most, keyword most, of the Western-made Silent Hills, to certain degrees, I will admit there are some flaws and issues with them, but it was still clear that it's like, it's not the original team. This isn't going to be as good as, well, the first three anyway. I mean, you could argue.
There was another thing I forgot. Didn't Kojima meet up with the music producer from the Silent Hill games shortly after the whole Silent Hills thing happened? There was stuff on Twitter where Kojima's like, "Yo, I'm having dinner with whoever the music producer guy name was," and people were like, "Holy shit!"
I forget his name. It's like Akira
Toriyama.
Yeah,
I think I met him at a convention before.
I think it was him or something else, or it was either him or someone else that I think was
who's the guy that
Silent.
usually?
Oh, it's just there's so much potential that can happen with Silent Hills, but now we don't know if it's going to get thrown out, drastically changed, or hopefully it just goes through. It goes through as it was intended to, which I don't think is going to happen because of what's going on with Konami being completely stupid.
The only thing is, though, because of Kojima leaving, I have a feeling that there's going to be some change in either whatever department of this game, either development or the concept of it or anything. I just don't know if it's going to be for the better or for the worst.
Thing is, if Kojima's out, does that mean that Del Toro's also going to back out?
Yeah,
we don't know that. That's why we said, is he still?
There's these elements that you have. There's all these things that you have to keep in consideration of the game's development. Either, the staff of people. It's not just Kojima leaving. It could also be all sorts of people leaving. As you said, I mean, there's also there could be a change of staff in terms of music, video game development. Change of studio. You name it. There's just all sorts of things to take into consideration. We'd probably be here for forever if we actually talk what could happen for the better or for worse for each distinctive element. But on the other hand, like you said, I don't want this to go for the worse. So, but I'll say this: if it has to be delayed, in order to ensure a better game, I'll bite the bullet and go for it. I mean, hey, I was willing to accept Batman Arkham Knight being delayed from last year to this year. Because I thought that was a better move,
It usually is a better move when games get delayed, because it usually means that they are polishing the games a bit more for launch.
So,
at least
I mean, if Silent Hills has to be delayed to a certain extent, I'll accept that. But ultimately, I just don't want to I don't want it to be in development hell like Metal Gear Rising was. But at least with Metal Gear Rising, it was successful. I mean, thanks to Platinum Games. Even if it has to be outsourced, don't always assume that outsourcing is going to be a bad thing.
Oh no! I mean, look at Retro Studios with Nintendo. They've done really well.
Mm-hmm. I mean, didn't we at first admit and kind of thought that Strider was going to be a piece of shit, but yet it turns out it's actually pretty good.
we were like a little speculative, or we were a little, or not speculative.
We were a little wary about it.
Yeah, we were a little skeptical about it. I mean, even I was. Yeah, but once I actually played through it, it was like, oh wow, this is actually good.
Yeah, I actually played it. It's actually not bad. It's actually good.
I know.
I'm surprised. So, ultimately, Just don't consider outsourcing.
But I don't think people want Double E's to come back to another Silent Hill game.
Okay,
After
yeah,
Homecoming.
Yeah, good point.
Despite how much they improved, but
Yeah, I will admit Double Helix is improved, but back to Silent Hills.
Climax on the other hand, though, I mean, Origins was okay, and Shattered Memories was
like
pretty
Shattered
good. Yeah, I mean, Shattered Memories is one of the more favorable Western-made ones. In Silent Hills,
It's at least
anyway.
one of the more interesting ones.
Yeah.
If anything. I mean, I at least played through that one.
Same here.
I've played that a few times.
Mm-hmm.
I just didn't bother with Downcoming.
I mean, Homecoming, I won't blame you. Downpour, I need to play more of it to really get a full
I
opinion.
want to give Downpour a fair chance before I judge it, because I
still even haven't played through Homecoming either, so it's like I probably will at some point. Also, but I'll probably just get kind of like at the end with both, maybe.
Yeah, but when you play a Homecoming, you'll probably
But I would
be like,
I'd much rather play those instead of Book of Memories. Jeez,
it's like the worst.
I can't stress how bad that one is, or how baffling it is.
Is it just by easily the worst Silent Hill game of
Yes.
all?
I mean, granted, whatever happens to Silent Hills, I guarantee you, it won't be like Silent Hill, or it won't be Book of Memories. You know, I mean, who knows? Maybe they'll actually develop it in house. Like Konami will maybe actually finally decide, okay, you know what? We don't have any more companies really. I mean, we lost. Kojima Productions is disbanding. Maybe we should actually make our own games now, finally, or at least do that again, and not just Pro Evolution Soccer or whatever. Like actually buckle down, get as many people. Like we said earlier, they were hiring people for Metal Gear Solid, but they didn't necessarily say they were outsourcing. Like I think they were actually like hiring people in their own studios.
Mm-hmm.
To do that. Maybe that's what they'll do with Silent Hills. Oops, sorry, that's my chair. Maybe they'll do that with Silent Hills as well. Now, granted, it probably won't be the same like ideas or vision of what Kojima has had with it originally. That is, even if he is like not going to be involved with it anymore. Like, we don't even know that. Like, who knows? Maybe he'll stick around with that game too, at least to an extent.
I mean, if he's actually going to stick around with that game, at least that brings some hope to me.
Maybe as like an advisor or something like that.
Yeah. I mean, didn't he have like an advising role in Lords of Shadow to a certain degree?
I believe he did. The first Lords of Shadow, Kojima Productions was involved, at least a little bit.
I mean, I take it they had like no involvement with the sequel?
No, neither that or the 2D one, or the Mirror of Fate.
I just had to play the wait and see card like on this because we just don't have like a lot of information or evidence to back up our concerns or.
Yeah, we need to actually wait for like actual like announcements and news of what Konami is doing with Silent Hills right now and what the actual state of it is right now.
Yeah, the best we can. I mean, I would like to hear this personally from Kojima himself. Is like, what is he going to do about Silent Hills? I'd like to hear from him rather than.
I'm sure he's being asked about it a lot. I mean,
I know, but
we're essentially asking about it right now.
But I'll patiently wait about it since there's some things I need to look into.
And I believe that brings this discussion to a close.
Yeah. Oops.
So without further ado, let's go into viewer questions. And this one comes from Nobody from Nowhere.
Hi, Nobody from Nowhere. You're familiar.
And Nobody from Nowhere asks, who is your anime waifu?
We're really gonna go there.
Fuck!
You know what? I'll go first so that you guys have at least a little time to think. My anime waifu is Metapod from Pokemon.
I thought you were gonna take advice from Roj.
I thought it would be Haruka from Fully Cooley.
You expect me to give a serious answer?
You know what? I'll say a predictable one.
Does it have to be anime?
I don't know. I was gonna say I'll just pick a predictable one. Sheena from Tales of Symphonia. There.
Yeah, I guess that's anime.
Ish.
Yeah, Tales is pretty much anime. It always has been.
I can't believe we got... What do I even say? How many do I have?
I don't know. What's on your pillow?
2. Oh, fuck. Oh, fuck. Well, I don't know. This is actually a hard pick.
You don't have to answer. It's not a serious question.
Well, it's not gonna be a serious answer.
None of us really were.
I want to say whatever's on the pillow. There's my answer.
Wait, can I have 2 anime waifus?
Sure, why the hell
Can
not?
Okay,
have
Metapod from Pokemon, and the Sword of Righteousness from Earthworm Jim.
Wow. Okay. That's actually one that I actually got. I actually know of. Probably only a person here that's seen the cartoon.
No, I got it. My waifu was Cory from Cory in the House.
There you go.
Okay.
That's my favorite anime.
It's the best one. I mean, holy shit. You guys should watch it.
Let's all watch it when this podcast is over.
Is that the only question we got?
Yes.
And it wasn't from Akugo?
You do realize that was just a made-up question that Scott made up, right?
Yep. Speaking of Shadow, you still haven't answered.
Oh,
He did.
God.
No, I thought
you?
he did.
I know
Did
I
you?
did.
He said
said-
Hanako from Fooly Cooly.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
I know. I said. I thought that was just towards Scott. I just assumed that his waifu was Haruko from Fully Cooley.
Nope,
Okay,
Sword of
then what's
Righteousness.
really-
Okay.
That's a Funiku.
Sure, why the fuck not?
Because you talked about the game, so why not?
Yeah,
Sword of
but I-
Righteousness is my
Whichever
waifu.
girl from Persona 4 is best girl.
This is
Yeah,
I'll
my
have you
Lord
go
Or
Joseph.
better
that-
yet, because we've been playing
Chie
Smash.
is the best girl.
Because Smash, Lucina,
Or Fire Emblem
No, because
Awakening.
Fire Emblem.
Fire Emblem. Lucina.
Because Codename Steam. Oh wait, she's not out yet. Yo, when's Way 4, Nintendo? Come on.
and besides, I have like 2 fucking posters of Fire Emblem Awakening, and 2 of them are, and Lucina's in both of them.
God damn it, Laura
There you go.
Bailey. What are you doing?
Okay, if anyone has an actual question to ask us, feel free
This
to ask
bullshit.
it in the YouTube comments or on the RCG page. You can also ask us on Facebook, facebook.com/RiverCityGamers. But for now, let's go into video updates. And Blondie, would you start us off?
Okay, well. Right now, I'm actually working on a little Black Sheep game review that will actually probably be out before the podcast goes up. We'll see if that actually happens. After that, it's going to be another They Made a Sequel. I already started recording the first game of that, but I'll still need to record the sequel after that, and then just go from there.
Oh, is that it?
Yeah, that's it.
Oh, wow, that was quick.
Well, just 2 videos, really. That's all.
Unreal?
Oh! I'm working on a game review for once, and it's an Ain't Got Games.
The person that makes videos.
Yeah, after
the
25
biggest
years in
surprise
development.
Not like the rest of us had long pauses either.
Mine might have the longest pauses ever. But
I'm actually the most laziest member on this podcast because I haven't done
excuse me,
I can't gasp anymore because I'll start coughing.
but I am working on an Ain't Got Games. I haven't started editing, but I have recorded the entire game I'm covering. So that's done with. But now I've got to figure out a script, and this time I'm gonna like try and write the script while watching through the entire game footage, which means it's gonna be technically my 4th fucking playthrough of this goddamn thing. Say hello to the Order 1886. Remember the past few podcasts where I fucking talked about it? Guess what's being covered?
I
Oh!
can't wait.
Woo!
Well,
Pretty
wait.
cinematics.
And because of this, that best of 2014 thing I wanted to do, I'm gonna I'm just gonna hold off on that because I want to get this done first. Which means my Best of 2014 video is coming out next year. So, anyways, the big plan here, the big work plan here for me is just working on this 8GOT game. I'm gonna have to start figuring out a script, but fortunately, next few days is gonna be rough. I probably won't be able to get anything done. Cause I just found out I have a huge ass work week. So, I'm gonna have like no free time. So that's great. Next.
I'll go next. I'm in kind of a weird position right now because, like I mentioned before, last weekend I was at A&G. My position at A&G is videographer, which means I'm spending a lot of time lately editing together videos that I shot at the convention. So that is going to take up a fair amount of my time. However, I am still working on some videos on the side. I'm still going to try and do my usual Bloody Roar 4 stream/recording session this weekend, and as part of the build-up to Bloody Roar 4 in the Bloody Roar retrospective. And I'm also finally going to finish something that I started a long time ago as an I Wanna Play. So we'll see how soon that goes up. Aside from that, I also have one other game that I could potentially do a Fearless video set on, but I want to hold off on that so I can have something different uploaded to my channel in the next couple of weeks. And that about does it for me, so Shadow!
Okay, I do have something I want to say, but I feel like I'm going to be redundant in saying this, but because, busy week, I barely have any free time to actually work on videos and whatnot because of classes, and I'm always working on the weekends. But I want to actually legitimately do Metal Gear Rising because I feel for the longest time I've always wanted to actually legitimately review that game because I feel like that it's actually a very good action game to me. I figured it deserves at least some recognition even to this day. So I figured I might should at least give an honest review of it. Like try to compare what I thought of it like when I first played it and what I think about it right now. So that means I'm probably gonna have to go into a video recording because I do have the video record equipment. I probably just need to go about editing it or whatnot. So once I get the footage, and then maybe I can start videoing. But I'm also gonna try starting as early as summer when classes are done, because once I probably get started, that's when I can actually start working on it. But other than that, it's been a little bit lazy. I actually also have a couple crossover projects with some other River City gamers, which I'm not going to name right now, that I want to work with in the summertime as well too. So this is my work plan. If this goes well, I want to get at least a somewhat of a legit review of Metal Gear Rising out, and these couple of crossover projects that some other members been wanting to do with me, get those out of the way, and I also want to legitimately review something that also is not a fighting game, which also Metal Gear Rising is also not a fighting game, because I feel like that I've been in this state where I feel like that I reviewed nothing but fighting games, and I figured that I should at least try to differentiate.
Didn't you only review 2 though?
Back
I know you did Melty Blood, and I can't really think of anything else you really did in terms of just fighting.
Okay, now that I think about it, the crossover projects, which I'm not gonna name who I'm gonna do it with, but the games in question are fighting games.
Oh, okay.
Okay, but I pretty much already said this, but I want to do a review of Project Diva. I'm still debating of whether or not to do it on both localized games or just the second one entirely. You know how JonTron just makes videos on a specific video game series or types of video games of the specific genre or something like that? I'm thinking about just going like that, but with Project Diva. But mainly just focus on the localized ones, not go as far as, review the ones that have never been released here, because that probably would take forever. So I figured just go for a straightforward point of view in terms of if I was only going for the localized versions, but other than that, that's what I got. If I can knock this out in the summer, I probably will at least have at least 4 reviews for the summer to work on. Got myself a whole little work schedule, but I probably should start scripting when I get the chance.
Well, gambate and all that.
Alright.
And with that, I believe we have reached the end of the podcast. Once again, I am SCXCR.
I am Unreal.
Blondeguygamer.
I'm Shadowsnake123.
And I think I'm going to head to the Gathering Hall.
Alright, I'm gonna join you.
And we immediately go to the Monster Hunter. What typical.
Sorry, I'm off to figure out some more Revelations.
If reviews aren't coming out soon, that's why.
Yeah!
Bam Bam's in control. Bam Bam.
Bam Bam Bigelow.
Bam Bam Bigelow knows his way around that ring. Where's Bam Bam going?
Bam Bam Bigelow.
And you do not